is NBC Palm Springs.
Good morning, Coachella Valley, and thank you for joining us for NBC Palm Springs Midday. I'm Joe Smith. I'm glad you're here. We're going to check in with Jerry Steffen, and we know it's hot in the desert, but really, Jerry, this is a little excessive.
Pretty typical heat right now. We have temperatures that'll be around that 110 mark as you look at our Agua Caliente casino cam. Yeah, a lot of sunshine today. Clouds begin to move in late today around the mountains. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover tomorrow. Hot and dry. Yeah, sure, that's typical for July, but we're talking excessive heat very soon for the Coachella Valley with temps that could get as high as 120. We'll let you know when that'll happen. Today, though, 111. Hearing the 120 mark, this looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Yeah, 111 under lots of sunshine this afternoon. I'll talk about the changes and take you city by city of how hot it's going to get this coming weekend. Full forecast in minutes.
Oh, joy. Thank you, Jerry. Taking a look at our top story, the president is not above the law and may have to turn over some of his financial and tax records. That's the bottom line from the Supreme Court today, ruling in two cases about the power of Congress and the legal immunity of the president. Alice Barr is in Washington with the details.
In a pivotal decision today, the Supreme Court ruling 7-2 that President Trump is not immune to the grand jury process. This stems from the case of a New York prosecutor seeking the president's financial records for an investigation into payments made to two women who claim they had affairs with him, which the president denies. But the records won't automatically be released. The case now goes back down to the trial court, where the president's legal team has to come up with a reason to block releasing the records that would apply to anyone else. They can't just say he's immune because he's president. The justices also sent a separate case back down to the lower courts, this one regarding subpoenas from 3 House committees for several years' worth of President Trump's business records from his accounting firm and 2 banks. This one is partly a response to claims by the president's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, who said his old boss would inflate or deflate his assets to serve his own purposes. House Democrats also want to know whether the president had any financial dealings with Russia before taking office. That's something President Trump has frequently denied. The decisions today mean that these cases will almost certainly not be decided before the election, because now they'll be going down to the lower courts and from there can be appealed again. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now to the latest on a coronavirus coverage. Riverside County set another one-day record with over 850 new coronavirus infections reported yesterday, 324 of those in the Coachella Valley, and 9 new deaths in the county, 4 here in the valley. And as cases rise across the state and county, Governor Gavin Newsom spoke about the concerns California has surrounding personal protective equipment shortages.
The new number we just got in a few hours ago, which Carmela didn't even have the privilege of having, which we're just putting out publicly, shows a 44% increase in hospitalizations over the last 2-week period. So you're seeing the total number of hospitalized increasing to 6,100. Again, that represents a 44% increase over a 2-week period.
Still, the governor says the state is capable of handling a surge in cases. Newsom also stresses the primary spreaders of recent outbreaks are people not wearing masks and not social distancing. A key coronavirus model is now predicting more than 208,000 deaths by November 1st. That's if mask policies stay the same. If 95% of the population wears masks, 45,000 lives could be saved. Riverside County says some people are not cooperating with the contact tracers. Our Kitty Alvarado shows us why the work of these disease detectives is so important.
Isolating and contact tracing.
Trace every person.
Disease detectives.
We've heard a lot about contact tracing and the difference a simple phone call can make that informs someone they may have been exposed or exposed someone to coronavirus. Daniel Brown, a contact trace lead with the County of Riverside, says this virus is challenging to trace.
In the 17 years that I've been working for the county, I haven't seen anything like this. Because again, people can get exposed to the virus 2 days before somebody's even showing symptoms.
Posing another challenge is some people they call do not cooperate.
People don't believe that the county is going to this extent to reach out to them to make sure that they're safe and healthy.
Also, some think it's a scam or don't want to give out names and phone numbers of the people they exposed. But the contact tracer will gladly help you verify they are who they say they are, and the service is free.
Several things we do not ask for is any bank information or social security number.
What they do ask for is your name, birthday, symptoms, and names and phone numbers of people you have exposed. Marcia Penny, the county's contact tracing supervisor, says your name will not be shared with anyone, not even your employer. The county also stresses they will never ask for your immigration status.
The information you provide them is private. It is confidential. It will not be shared with anyone else.
She says they're there to help, not judge.
We don't lay any blame. We try to remove stigma, the stigma of not only having COVID, but the stigma of possibly transmitting COVID to somebody unintentionally.
Daniel says the most rewarding part of this job is when they save entire households, especially those with high-risk loved ones from getting sick.
We've had families call the nurse line and thank us for giving them the heads up that they might have been exposed so that they don't take it back to their homes or take it back to their grandparents.
So if you get the call, pick up and help.
If we want to stop COVID, it's really important that we all work together.
Kitty Alvarado, NBC Palm Springs.
The debate about schools reopening continues. Yesterday, President Trump criticized the CDC's guidelines for schools reopening. Now the agency plans to issue additional guidelines soon, but they don't plan to change the original recommendations. Rather, the CDC will provide more information for communities, caregivers, and schools on how to reopen safely. The director of the CDC, Robert Redfield, said they will not be softening its original guidelines. Here locally, some districts are planning to reopen in less than a month. But what will school look like when that happens? Our Daytona Everett found it all depends on the district.
So we're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools.
President Trump is urging states to open schools as soon as possible. But with COVID-19 as a threat to public health, setting a schedule in stone has been quite the task.
It's one thing to miss your friend and another thing to be sick or possibly worse, pass away from the virus.
Trina Alisi, president of the Desert Sands Unified Teachers Association, says DSUSD has an August 19th start date for students, about a month away. But how school will look is uncertain.
You don't know if it'll be in person or online yet?
No, that's what the school board will decide tomorrow.
Palm Springs Unified announced Tuesday their August 5th start date will be online. They hope to begin reintroducing in-person classes September 8th. Alisi says if Desert Sands follows in their footsteps and goes online, they'll be more prepared this time around.
Comparing what happened in the spring with what could potentially happen in August if we do start distance learning would be comparing apples to oranges.
Coachella Valley Teachers Association's president, Carissa Carrera, says CVUSD is a step behind the other districts. They'll meet Thursday, but will not vote on next steps. When asked about the possibility of going online, she says, quote, "We can always do it. We'll make it work, but it'll be a struggle because of the lack of connectivity. Internet has been an ongoing concern for online schooling, one of many concerns as teachers, parents, and students try to navigate their toughest lesson yet." Daytona Everett, NBC Palm Springs.
And the Chronicle of Higher Education is tracking more than 1,000 colleges and universities. About 60% of them are planning for an in-person fall semester. Only 10% have fully online plans, while more than 20% are opting for hybrids. Universities in California are leaning toward the online option. Cal State Long Beach usually offers 10,000 in-person class sections a semester. This fall, it will be 300. The rest will be virtual.
It's a dramatic drop in density. If we had all of us back, we might have hundreds of asymptomatic students who will be going out in the community. So then we might become the vector, that infects the city of Long Beach.
But universities may face some trouble for going mostly online. A new Trump administration policy would prevent international students from staying in the country. But the University of California is planning to sue the government over the new policy. The UC system is seeking a temporary restraining order and preliminary and permanent injunction relief to prevent ICE from enforcing the order. The president of UC calls the order mean-spirited and damaging to America. This comes after Harvard and MIT announced they would be suing the Trump administration over the policy.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
Let's take a live look outside right now. An absolutely beautiful day, although it's going to heat up. According to Jerry, it's all yours.
Yeah, Agua Caliente Casino Cam reflecting the clear skies that we have right now. A few clouds may be moving into the area late tonight over the mountains. 96 degrees currently in Palm Springs. Winds calm at the moment at the airport. 11% relative humidity. And like I said the last couple of days, we're going to be in the single digits by later on today. 77 at Big Bear doing our temp check. 91 already. Do we have any triple digits? That's at Yucca Valley, by the way. 94 at 29 Palms. 97 at Desert Hot Springs. Searching for triple digits. Almost there in some communities like Mecca at 98, 96 at Palm Desert. There we go. Rancho Mirage, you're the big winner. 100 at this hour. Clear skies over the valley, plenty of sunshine, nothing on radar over the southwest. A quiet weather pattern, dry for us in the valley. 109 to 112, which will put us exactly where we were yesterday. So today's going to be a carbon copy of Wednesday afternoon's forecast. Late in the day, we'll get an onshore flow that'll be a little bit breezy, but a lot of sunshine today. Dew points in the upper 20s, low 30s for many of us in the Coachella Valley. And we'll see us move toward that 110 mark at 4, 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon. But we really heat up over the weekend. Excessive heat warnings in effect for Saturday, Sunday, and again on Monday. And the range of temps those 2 days will be between 115 and 122 for the Coachella Valley. Yeah, it's going to get hot, dangerously hot outside, especially on Sunday. Here's your Comfort Air 3-day forecast. So 111 today, 112 tomorrow, and then 116 as those numbers move up. And that'll be the low end for the Coachella Valley, that 116 mark for Palm Springs. Full forecast, all the numbers on the way in the full forecast in just minutes.
Drink plenty of water. Thank you, Jerry. The landscape of New York City's Fifth Avenue is changing today. This is a live picture from NYC. This live look of the street where painters who are working on this morning anyway on a Black Lives Matter mural, and it's right in front of Trump Tower. Mayor Bill de Blasio picked the location, saying black people built Fifth Avenue and much of the nation. Black Lives Matter murals are being painted on streets in cities across America in the wake of protests against police brutality and racial injustice. And new details coming out in the death of George Floyd, which sparked protest. Audio from the Minneapolis police officer's body cams reveals Floyd's many pleas for Ayer and Chauvin's dismissal, saying, quote, "It takes a heck of a lot of oxygen to talk." And when Chauvin told Floyd he was under arrest, Floyd cried out, "Mom, I love you. Tell my kids I love them. I'm dead." 3 other officers are charged with aiding and abetting murder and manslaughter, while Chauvin is charged with murder and manslaughter. Back here in California, new evidence in another instance of police brutality. The results of an independent autopsy ordered by the family of a teen shot to death by Los Angeles police are in. They show he was shot in the back, which the family says shows the killing was not justified. Carlos Saucedo has the story.
The independent autopsy into the death of Andres Guardado indicates the 18-year-old was shot multiple times. Attorneys for the Guardado family released this graphic image showing 5 bullet wounds in the teenager's back. They say Guardado was running from sheriff's deputies as he was shot and killed the evening of June 18th.
And that's very significant for the case because it confirms that Andres was not in front of these sheriff's deputies. He was shot in the back 5 times, causing his death.
The family authorized the second autopsy after the sheriff's department placed a security hold on the official report prepared by the county's medical examiner. Sheriff Alex Villanueva addressed the findings in a press conference this afternoon.
I, as sheriff, cannot give you an opinion on a deputy-involved shooting until all the facts are documented and presented. What I can tell you is that you have my word, this will be a very thorough investigation.
Mass protests erupted following the shooting death, many calling for an independent investigation. According to officials, deputies were on patrol when they saw Guardado with a gun near an auto shop in Gardena. It's still unclear what led up to the shooting. The family disputes the claim, saying Guardado was there working as a security guard.
This is a good kid who was a good student, never been in trouble in his life. And the only person who's saying there was a gun at the scene is the guy who murdered Andres.
The deputy who shot all 6 rounds, killing Guardado, is scheduled to be interviewed next week. The attorney for the other deputy who witnessed his partner open fire says the shooting was justified.
I think any type of rapidly evolving situation would put a deputy sheriff or any police officer on the street in fear of his life.
That was Carlos Aceto reporting. Glee actress Naya Rivera is believed to be missing after she went swimming at Lake Peru in Ventura County. Authorities say she was boating with her 4-year-old son. Rivera never returned to the boat after swimming with her son. It's believed she wasn't wearing a life jacket, but her son was. Sheriff's deputies were called to the scene after a report of a child alone on a boat. Authorities resumed their search this morning after halting it overnight.
We presume that she went in the water, but right now we haven't located her on any shoreline or anything like that. It is still an active search, but the reality is the story that we got was that she went in the water. She was swimming with her son. He came out of the water. She did not.
Police in Fullerton are investigating the death of a young boy found alone in a hot car yesterday. Temperatures were in the mid-80s at the time. Detectives haven't said how long the child was left in the car, and they're trying to determine if it was an accident or a crime. Up next, help for the homeless, how the city of Palm Springs is working with the county to find some relief. Stay with us, please. And welcome back. With families struggling during the pandemic, there's been a rush and push for more housing in the valley. Our Regina Ureta reports the city of Palm Springs is working with the county to make that happen.
They've had people dying of this left and right. So, yeah, it's kind of scary.
Donald Roberts, who's sheltering at the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, says he's relieved to have a bed to sleep on. But 2 weeks ago, he was afraid knowing he and his family could contract COVID-19 while camping on the streets.
They were nice enough to take us in and everything and feed us and give us clothes, all that. So, I mean, it's a godsend for this place.
Since the shutdown, Coachella Valley Rescue Mission has been struggling to meet CDC guidelines and also says a surge in homelessness has caused an overflow of residents looking for shelter in their facility.
19 hit and this pandemic surged and all the restrictions came from CDC and Governor Newsom, we realized we couldn't respect 6 foot of social distancing and sleep more than 8 people. That means 42 people would have been out on the streets.
That is why the city of Palm Springs, along with Riverside County, have come up with a plan to bring several emergency shelters and transform a Palm Springs hotel into a social distancing safeguard for homeless.
We had been awarded that money, but we actually just now received it. And so we've been looking for opportunities to partner with the county to provide permanent supportive housing.
Majority of the homeless community have not only had to deal with the emotional stress of losing their home in the midst of a pandemic, but are now also trying to survive living in the streets in triple-digit heat.
That need help because the money, the jobs, the businesses closed and not all of them reopened.
Adding urgency to a problem that precedes the pandemic. Regina Urita, NBC Palm Springs.
One person is recovering in the hospital after a shooting in Desert Hot Springs. Police arrived to find a person suffering from a gunshot wound. No word on how that person is doing. A lot of information about this is still unknown and under investigation. Several businesses in La Quinta were targets of vandalism and burglary yesterday, and police say they have a suspect in custody. Cliff House Bar and Grill and VCA Animal Hospital were both vandalized. The Q from the city of La Quinta street sign was stolen. Police say they saw Marco Trujillo running between the businesses, and after running from police, they arrested him. Police say they found the Q from the sign in his camp underneath the 111 bridge. Here's a look outside right now from our Agua Caliente Casino cam in Palm Springs. Jerry's got your complete AccuWeather hot, toasty forecast after the break.
Been a weather holding pattern over the past couple of days. A lot of sunshine, temps a little bit above average. That's the case today. Looking at our Agua Caliente Casino cam, a lot of blue skies. Clouds begin to move in tomorrow. 111 the high yesterday. We'll be close to that again one more day before those numbers start moving way up. Keep in mind, put it in perspective, 107 is our average high temp for this time of year. 99 currently at Palm Springs, 99 at Thousand Palms, hitting 100 degrees right now, last couple of minutes. That's Coachella, 94 at 29 Palms, Yucca Valley, 90 right now. Clear skies over the valley. A lot of sunshine expected today. A few clouds move in beginning tomorrow and through the weekend. Not much on radar to point out either. Kind of a quiet and dry weather pattern today. 109 to 112. That's where we were yesterday. That's where we're going to be today. And one more day of those numbers before they start skyrocketing. Late onshore flow will kick in around dinner time today. Temps along the coast, yeah, highs in the 70s. Very cool. About 10 degrees warmer inland, like at Los Angeles, and then easily above 110 in some areas of the valley this afternoon and again tomorrow. A lot of 111s today around the Coachella Valley, and same range of numbers as you move into Friday. After that, Saturday, things change. That ridge of high pressure in the upper levels really begins to take over the southwest, and those numbers move on up. 116 to 120. That is hot, and that'll be the range of temps on Saturday. We'll see some clouds too, but for the most part, it's going to be hot and somewhat dry. Specifically 116 at Palm Springs. That'll be the low end for high temps on Saturday for the valley, because we're going to get as high as 119, possibly 120. And if you think that's hot, Sunday is going to be even hotter. 120, 121, 122, the range of numbers for Sunday afternoon in the Coachella Valley. Because of that, excessive heat warnings have been put into place for the Valley, High Desert, Eastern Riverside County. Temperatures between 115 and 122 basically will be the high end for highs. And we'll break records. Those high temp records will fall over the southwest, including the Coachella Valley, especially on Sunday for Palm Springs. We could tie that 120 high record set back in 85, and thermal looks like they'll be up there too. 118 for Saturday, the record 119. Sunday 121. Yeah, we could beat that 120 record set back in 85. So sunshine today, some clouds move in over the mountains as we move into tonight, and partly cloudy skies for the weekend. Surface moisture still quite dry. Single digit relative humidity today. Those numbers move slightly up as we head to the weekend. Tropical storm Christina still holding steady at 65-mile-an-hour winds, moving its way generally to the west. It could become a hurricane as we move into tomorrow, but now they kind of drop that. You can see it's going to stay a very strong tropical storm and then fall apart as it moves over the drier air and cooler sea surface temperatures. All right, 111 today on our 7-day forecast, 112 tomorrow before the numbers move on up, 116 Saturday and Monday with that 120 right in between.
Palm Springs, the movie, begins streaming this weekend on Hulu and showing at select drive-in theaters. It stars Andy Samberg, and this morning, Mandy the Movie Guy talks to the stars of the movie.
It's going to be a beautiful wedding.
Here you are, standing on the precipice of something so much bigger than anyone here. But always remember, you are not alone.
Hi guys, congratulations, my favorite rom-com team ever.
Oh my God, thank you.
You are so welcome. Well, it's a rom-com with not just a heart, but brain as well. And the best part, it's about my city.
Yes, right.
So let's start with the basics. When you guys first saw the script, what did you think? Let's begin with you, Miss Kristen.
I mean, I read it and I had never, my like biggest takeaway was that I'd never read anything quite like it. You know, obviously there's the time loop mechanism in film. Like we've seen this in Groundhog Day and like Russian Doll, which I also really loved. But like I came away from this feeling like it was such an incredible combination of like dark, weird, so funny, and like very moving.
Similar, you know, it was making me laugh immediately, and it blended genres in such a seamless way that just made me believe in it.
I don't think that we met. I'm Sarah.
Niles.
Hi.
It's not going to sound like it's like part of the comedy though, but like you meet a woman who is dealing with a lot of like pain and shame.
And Niles is interesting because when you first meet him, it seems like he is completely the master of his universe and in complete control. But as the movie goes on, you start to see the cracks in his armor and realize he actually maybe is just completely broken.
You! What is going on? Hey, get out of the water!
Guess you followed me. It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
That I might have heard about.
Yeah.
We really wanted to shoot in Palm Springs, and we're not really able to. Budgetary restrictions and the California tax rebate, which makes it that it was a Los Angeles movie, so we could stay in our homes, a lot of us, and the crew in their homes, and because of that, we weren't really allowed to. So one of my biggest regrets about the movie is that we weren't able to spend the entire time in Palm Springs, because I love Palm Springs and I
love Palm Springs.
That's why I couldn't find that big rock with a hole in it. I kept looking and looking and looking.
The second you fall asleep, it all just goes back to the start.
I drove all the way back home to Austin, and I still woke up here.
If you have a chance to get stuck in a time loop, what era of your life would it be?
I mean, I would say this one.
I was going to say that too.
We kind of are anyway, so I know what it would be like.
Oh, and I will just be interviewing you guys forever and ever and ever.
That's right.
Just like the film, I want to see it again and again and again. So good luck on everything, you guys. And
thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Stop! There's a bomb in the cake. Don't worry, I used to be a bomb guy. Stand back!
Oh my God! Let me make it plain.
It's gonna be a beautiful wedding.
Andy's a funny guy. After the break, new findings in childhood obesity. Thalia's got the details in Your Health Today. That's coming up next. Stay with us, please.
Your Health Today, new research shows the first injectable drug to help prevent HIV is safe and highly effective. The study included 5,000 men and women considered to be high risk for contracting HIV. They were assigned to receive a daily regimen of pills or an injection once every 8 weeks. While both methods helped prevent HIV, the injections were most effective. Experts say the treatment is good for people who don't like swallowing pills. A new study suggests older adults with impaired vision and hearing have a significantly higher risk of dementia. Researchers from the University of Washington tracked over 2,000 seniors for 8 years, and they found people with dual sensory impairment were 86% more likely to develop dementia than those without hearing or vision loss. They also had twice the risk of developing Alzheimer's. Children who are tall for their age may be more likely to become obese. That's according to a new study from the Centers for Disease Control. Nearly 3 million children were examined between the age of 2 and 13. When they were re-examined about 4 years later, the taller kids had a higher body mass index. And that's what's happening in Your Health Today.
All right, thank you, Thalia. Now we're taking a live look at the big board from the New York Stock Exchange. Now in negative territory. Earlier this morning, it was kind of a mixed bag. It was a little bit of negative, then it went to positive, and now we're in negative territory again. This all as the new unemployment numbers are in today. First-time applications for unemployment fell again last week. 1.3 million people applied for job benefits. While the numbers are heading in the right direction, they still remain at historic highs. And for the 15th consecutive week, initial claims have been over 1 million. Now to, some consumer news. Bed Bath & Beyond says it will close roughly 200 stores despite a jump in online sales. The home goods retailer reported overall revenue fell nearly 50% in the latest quarter. Now, the company, which has about 1,500 locations, says the stores will close over the next 2 years. Consumer spending was up in May, but as new coronavirus cases surge, businesses are continuing to adapt to changes brought on by this pandemic. Mandy Ganther has the story.
From small companies to big box corporations, the coronavirus has delivered a blow to businesses across the U.S. According to the latest report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, personal income decreased 4.2% in May, but consumer spending went up more than 8%. Companies are evolving in an effort to lift sales in the age of COVID-19. Strategies like curbside pickup have exploded in popularity the past few months, but the concept is easier for retailers that operate freestanding stores and have space to provide the service. It's not so easy for America's enclosed malls, especially for tenants who don't have a door leading outdoors. Other businesses making different changes like contactless delivery. Some stores are offering special hours for older shoppers, and Costco stopped selling their half-sheet cakes that serve about 50, now only serving smaller cakes. With some states scaling back on reopenings, business owners are hoping these changes will help them stay afloat. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And stay with us. Coming up next, some of the best in jazz. And you're invited to listen. The Idlewild Arts are heading to the Pines, how you can enjoy. And as we head to break, a live look from our Walter Clark Highway 111 camera. Jerry's got your full hot weather forecast next. And welcome back. You and your family may want to get away for a little summer vacay, but is that safe during the coronavirus pandemic? The CDC is not advising you to cancel summer travel tips, but there are certain types of travel that can be more dangerous for infections. Haley Hernandez reports.
The CDC's updated practical advice for using public transportation, ride shares, and air travel was consistent with other advice on preventing infection. Wash your hands and be careful what you touch. To improve air circulation, open windows, especially in cars. Infectious disease Dr. Linda Yancey from Memorial Hermann and Katy says air travel has more risks, but spacing rows between your family and others could help.
The way air circulation on airplane works is you are sharing air with the people to either side of you and the people on the other side of the aisle with you, and a couple of rows backwards and forwards. The air circulation goes around, not up and down the plane. So I know a lot of airlines are trying to distance people in alternate rows. That's actually a really good way of isolating people in pockets of airflow.
When traveling by air, bus, car, or train, limit touching these surfaces: kiosks, touch screens, and fingerprint scanners, ticket machines, turnstiles, handrails, restroom surfaces, elevator buttons, and benches as much as possible. If you have to, wash your hands or use sanitizer after you touch them. Dr. Yancey says there's also increasing proof that masks will keep you safer.
Wear a mask or a face covering. That is very important for protecting the people around you. Cloth face coverings work just fine. Just make sure you've got at least 2 layers of cloth.
And consider traveling during non-peak hours when there are likely fewer people.
Oh, look at those beautiful blue skies on our Agua Caliente casino cam. Yeah, a nice day today, plenty of sunshine. Clouds begin moving in tomorrow. Well, yesterday we had a high of 111, just like the day before. We were in that range just above that 107 degree normal. That'll be the case again today and somewhat on Friday before those numbers move way on up. We're moving toward triple digits right now in the 11 o'clock hour. 101 at Thousand Palms, 100 degrees at Coachella, 99's Desert Hot Springs and Palm Springs, 91 Yucca Valley, currently 92 at Cabazon. Clear skies, a lot of sunshine over the valley, not a whole lot going on over the southwest again. High pressure in control of our forecast, as it has been, not a whole lot of change. That'll keep those temps slightly above average again, around that 110 mark this afternoon for many of us in the Coachella Valley. So 111 for Palm Springs, but you can see 70s along the immediate coastline, the beaches, and mid-80s inland around Los Angeles. But yeah, we're going to be around 110 today for many of us in the Coachella Valley with lots of sunshine. And tomorrow, yeah, not a whole lot of change. Numbers still slightly above 110 in the Coachella Valley, but with a few extra clouds. But things change on Saturday. We've been talking about this all week long, and it's going to happen Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Temperatures move way up. The hottest temps we'll see so far this year, 116 to 120. This is Saturday's range of highs. We'll see some clouds, very light wind, no relief from breezes, basically. So 116 on Saturday for Palm Springs, 119 at Indio. But Sunday is going to be the hottest day as temperatures move into that 120 range, 120, 121, 122. You'll see quite a few of those on Sunday afternoon under partly cloudy skies. And excessive heat warnings have been placed in effect because of that. Saturday, Sunday, and again on Monday before those numbers begin to retreat. Now, we're going to see some records fall, too. 116 on Saturday for Palm Springs. That will not break a record. That's 121, too far away from that. But that 120 forecast for Sunday could tie a record set back in 85. And same for thermal, 121. Yeah, that best that 120 record set back in that hot year of 1985. So clouds begin to move in tomorrow into the weekend. Surface moisture still quite dry today, single-digit relative humidity. Then those numbers start moving up. Okay, here's your 7-day forecast from Comfort Air. 111 today, about the same for tomorrow. Then, yeah, excessive heat Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Finally, those numbers move back down, closer to normal Wednesday of next week.
This summer's Idlewild Arts Jazz in the Pines, after 26 years, is being reimagined this year. Like most other events, this one will be virtual. And here this morning is Pamela Jordan to fill us in. Welcome, Pamela. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's great to be here.
Well, this is already in progress and it runs through the 17th. You've got events going on every day.
We do, in fact. You know, we took a hiatus last year and came back with Jazz in the Pines this year. And I'm pleased because we've been able to stay committed to the values that we wanted to return with. So this 2-week festival now is in line with our high school program, where typically in the past we brought together 70 young jazz enthusiasts. So the program that runs all week is designed to provide master classes and workshops for students, as well as public events for our festival goers.
All right, so you've been able to turn this festival really around and to help the students as well.
That's right. You know, that's what Idlewild Arts is all about. It's about multi-generational engagement with the arts. And that's something that we felt, although Jazz in the Pines was extremely successful for 25 years, as you know, but it happened at a time when our students were not available, when they weren't on campus. And now in this virtual arena, what we've been able to do is to engage students really from around the world who may not have been able to participate in this program in the past. So we're really pleased with its reincarnation as we reach in the virtual world this year.
All right, so I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So the performers will be performing and we can just watch it online, correct?
We can. There's some things that are exclusive to the student experience. Of course, they're enrolled in online classes. But then there are lunchtime classes that our festival goers can see. And of course, these are free and open to the public. There are evening performances that stream live on Facebook. Last night, it was so much fun. We had a performance live from Birdland in New York. And so our students were able to see that, but festival goers were able to see as well. And then this year, we have something that's a little bit different too. And that's a series we call In Conversation. And so, you know, it's one thing to hear these great jazz practitioners play, but, you know, to hear Marshall Hawkins talk about his time with Miles Davis, being on the road, touring with him, and not just making music, but the things that would happen between the music, the things that would happen between musicians, and how jazz really is about life. So that's a new feature this year that our students get to experience, as well as our festival goers.
Now, it runs through the 17th, so how can I sign up? How can I enjoy this?
Well, it's very, very simple. Just go to www.jazzinthepines.com and you'll see a full lineup of activities.
I'm glad you were able to turn a negative into a positive so that the Jazz Festival could continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for helping us spread the word about this fantastic event.
Our pleasure. Thank you. And keep it right here. We'll be right back.
Well, forget what you know about skincare. Most of the technology was developed in the 1950s. Our next guest is a game changer. Welcome, Uli Haslacher from Pour Moi Skincare. Welcome, Uli.
Hello, Sandy. Thank you for having me.
So great to see you. And it looks like you're in our beautiful Joshua tree there. Gorgeous.
Yes, I'm surrounded by climate because on this hand, Sandy, I use Climate Smart Skincare. And on this hand, I use a regular moisturizer. And I've shown you before, look at the amazing results that I have gotten, that so many other women have gotten.
It really is amazing. And I love to see that example because our hands do age and we kind of forget about that. So that's a great example of what happens to our skin in certain climates. And how did you really come up with the concept for Climate Smart?
Well, as a little girl, my dad was actually in the powder coating industry. That's paint for outdoor, fencing, cars, everything that is exposed to the climate. And we traveled all over the world. We lived in Israel, South Africa, Denmark, polar climate, desert climate, tropical climate. He explained to me as a child already how the climate impacts a surface and how you treat it differently as per the climate. Well, flash forward, I'm a beauty executive in the beauty industry, and I am traveling also all over the world. And I moved from Europe to the desert climate, to Southern California. And I realized that my skin has all kinds of issues. And then I put one and one together. And I remember what my dad taught me, that every surface is affected by the climate. And that's when a light bulb went on in my head. I did more research and I found that actually skin is changing per the climate you live in. So that's how it's actually backed up by medical research. This is how our skin works, like any other surface.
And I know you have a patent, which is amazing because that's very difficult to get. And you've done very extensive independent studies to back all of this up. The products are made in France, which is fabulous. They are wonderful, wonderful products. I can attest to that for sure. And tell me about, of course, we're in a desert climate. So the half and half, what does that mean?
Well, what it means is when you look at the half face, one of the half of the face is affected by the desert climate. So these are the stressors. You have high UV light, dry air. You have winds. So you have this dust all the time in the air. So there's, certain stresses. And today we know over 90% of signs of aging, that's why it's called signs of aging, Sandy, is external aging. It's the climate. It's not biological aging. So on the other side, you can see if you use Climate Smart Skincare, where the secret sauce is specific for the desert climate, you actually get that rejuvenation and the repair. You jumpstart it in a way that you haven't experienced before. So if you're not completely happy with your skincare, give Pour Moi Climate Smart a try because it really changes how your skin looks and feels.
Well, we know that you have a special for our viewers because you really want to address our issues here in the desert. So tell me about that great deal.
Well, you get our 3-step rotating system for Palm Springs. So here's what you get. Step number 1, the hydrating balancer. This is your first layer of anti-aging ingredients and it softens your skin immediately. Step number 2 is the serum. It makes your smart skin even smarter, climate smart. And step number 3, you rotate between the desert day cream when you're in Palm Springs and the temperate day cream when you take a trip toward LA, where it's maybe a little bit humidity in the air and it's not as hot. You just told me you're going to be in for a weekend of 114 degrees. So that's for sure desert climate. So that's it, voila. And it's instead of $150, it's today 50% off, just $75.
That is, Uli, that is an amazing, amazing deal. And I love the fact that you're giving us a product that also works for day trips, because obviously we're not traveling right now during COVID-19, but we are taking day trips. So if we're going to the beach or San Diego or Los Angeles, that's perfect. So once again, Uli, thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing this special deal to our viewers. And we'll make sure we watch out for our skin.
Yes. Thank you, Sandy.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.